This is trash. It's ruining the hobby. What a bunch of clowns. At least that's what the comments said. This week, Topps rolled out with a new promotion for baseball cards that I thought was quite savvy, but a lot of collectors disagreed. And it brings me to the question, why do collectors hate new things in the hobby so much? And was this a promotion that they should love, or were they justified to hate on it? We're going to debate now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot Doug, you guys are trash. Just absolute trash.
Worst thing ever to happen to the hobby.
Worst thing ever. You're all about gambling.
Yes.
Bunch of clowns over here that I got to sit next to every day.
Getting sick and tired of us.
Man, that is all I'm seeing in the comments, guys, on social media this week. We were at the Topps Industry Conference earlier this week, and there Topps broke a lot of news. I thought there was a lot of optimism. I thought there was a lot of positivity. I thought that there were a lot of product announcements that were really cool. I thought a lot of good stuff was announced about NBA cards and NFL cards and non-sports cards. We're going to talk about all of that during this show today. And one announcement in particular that I thought was pretty neat was this 2025 Bowman Red Rookie Card promotion that Topps announced. And for those who maybe haven't seen the news yet, 2025 Bowman, very popular set every year. I know you love this, Teapot. It's coming out very soon. I think it comes out in the next couple of weeks. And certain rookie cards in that set will have a red rookie card logo. So not the traditional color, it'll be kind of a short print version of the cards where the traditional rookie card logo will be exchanged for a red rookie card logo. You want to look out for this because if you get a red rookie card logo, it could unlock something. That card becomes part of a buyback program, right? And what it unlocks is the following. If you hold on to that card, and if that player wins Rookie of the Year this year, you can turn that card in at the end of the year for $100 in Fanatics Fan Cash. Now, people may say, well, what is Fanatics Fan Cash? It can be used on Fanatics Live, which, by the way, Cards HQ, we're now live on Fanatics Live, so you could use it in one of our Cards HQ breaks on Fanatics Live. It can be used on Fanatics Collect, which is their marketplace, or it can be used on Fanatics.com if you want to go buy a few more Florida Gator National Championship basketball shirts.
Or not.
As I know both of you probably need a few. I've got several already. But you can use it in these places, right? So to me, I was like, oh, cool. This is another, this is like the MVP buyback program they've done in baseball. This is just another buyback program with a little bit higher stakes and tied into a short printed version of the card. I thought it was pretty cool. Then the offer got maybe a little more interesting and a little more complicated in some ways. If that player wins Rookie of the Year and you choose not to turn it in for the $100, you can hold the card in hopes that the player will eventually win MVP or Cy Young. If they do and you turn it in then, it's worth $300. But if you don't turn it in then, you continue to hold it. And if they win a second MVP or Cy Young, it's worth $500. If they win a third MVP or Cy Young, it's worth $700. Or if you hold that red rookie card all the way until their retirement and they eventually make the Hall of Fame, you can turn it in and it's worth $1,000 in Fanatics Fan Cash. So it's, Fanatics has kind of raised the stakes here in many ways. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I don't know if people are really going to hold on to these cards all the way till players retired and go to the Hall of Fame. But to me, the whole program seemed pretty savvy. I was like, this is fun. It gives us something new to chase. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just a net positive to this product. It gives people a little more fun. To me, it's also on point. It kind of ties into fantasy sports. And, people now can kind of play fantasy sports with the cards a little bit and speculate on who may get Rookie of the Year. You can buy these, of course, on the secondary market and hold them in hopes that they turn into $100 of fan cash at the end of the year. And then I was shocked. And maybe I shouldn't have been. But I was shocked when I opened up the social media posts that we at Sports Card Investor had put out about it, and I saw comments like this. I have a better chance of watching my unborn child graduate before I ever see any of this pay out. Anyone else surprised that Fanatics had another terrible idea for the hobby? So what happens in 20 years when a rookie makes the Hall of Fame and Fanatics is out of business? Okay. Fanatics just making the hobby all about gambling. This plus many, many more. And I look at this and I'm like, what's the deal? This seems like a harmless, positive, great, cool idea by Topps and Fanatics. Guys, help me. Am I missing something here? Or are this flood of collectors on social media, are they off base? Teapot, I'm going to start with you.
You know what? It's not nice to get extra value out of a box. That is not nice. What we want to do is just get crushed, have no value whatsoever. I don't know a single person who had this kind of reaction when the MVP buyback program rolled out. I thought that is like one of the most universally loved things that Topps has rolled out.
I thought so.
Like the hobby shops obviously really like it. They're getting credit back. You hit one of these cards, you hold it. Oh, I think Mookie's going to win MVP. I think whatever. You hold on to him and you get a whole bunch of extra money to put back into your hobby. This is like the same thing. The only difference here to me is that in addition to there being like a redemption value, even if those players don't end up hitting it, you basically just hit a red foil, like short printed version of the rookie card, which they've had in other products. Like in the past, or even currently, Stadium Club has like red foil parallels and other things in it. So that's what this is. You're just getting a shorter printed rookie card, a non-serial numbered rookie card that if they happen to go on and win an award, pays you off big time. So I'm curious, first of all, just to see sort of like the general secondary market value of these, how they multiply versus the base card or not. But the overall reaction to this, the only thing I can figure out is that if people are like fixating too much on the idea of the long-term payoff, where they're like, oh yeah, what are the odds? Yeah, sure. If you hold this card for 25 years, which I wouldn't do for a Hall of Fame, renewal, I can't see anybody doing that. I said just going, yeah, I'm just going to hold this for a long time. If that player ends up making the Hall of Fame, there's a good chance that card with the red rookie logo in a PSA 10 sells for more than whatever the future value, $500 in future value of 1,000 is if they get that. I would redeem it if they got the Rookie of the Year award. Like if they hit that, I'm redeeming it. I'm taking my $100 in Fanatics cash and moving on. And then there's the outside speculation, especially on things I think like Cy Young awards, which tend to be very different from year over year, whereas MVPs kind of go through rotations depending on the players. But it just confused me. I had the same exact reaction. I'm like, wow, the keyboard warriors really came out to hate on an idea that seems at worst mostly innocuous. Like just don't do it. But I thought it was a good idea when they announced it. I was like, I like that. More redemption, more value. And everybody's saying these most like hyperbolic statements ever. I'm late to the party, but worst idea ever.
Doug, let's be honest. Were you one of those keyboard warriors and you're on one of your burner accounts just hating on this thing? Do you hate this, Doug?
Not to that extent. I don't love it, but it is mostly harmless. Like, I don't care about it a ton. But I don't love the idea of just artificially inflating the value of essentially a base card just to eventually pump more money back into the Fanatics ecosystem. And that's all you're really doing. And I think it could affect wax prices. It's going to affect spot prices when you join breaks. And that's unnecessary because let's say they make a dozen players red seals, right? 11 of them are immediately going to lose all value, be worth nothing essentially compared to their base card. So that's a lot different than if you were to get a refractor or a serial numbered card, which will still hold some value. It won't just plummet like these will when that player no longer is in the, Rookie of the Year race. I think the long-term projection is pretty dumb also. I would rather just take whatever money it costs to buy this red seal rookie and put it on a futures bet for Rookie of the Year. I'll make more money that way doing that. Also, whatever money it costs to buy these, I'd rather just put it in like a something safer, like a money market account or a 401k, and I bet it makes more than $1,000 in 25 years. So I don't really get the appeal personally. I think it's not a negative, but I don't think it's a positive. I'm pretty neutral on it. I kind of see some of the drawbacks there, but I don't think it's, I'm not going to be hyperbolic about it and say it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
This to me would be like if our breakers on Whatnot or Fanatics Live said, hey, in our baseball breaks tonight, if you hit a player who hits a home run in a game tonight, we're giving you extra break cash, break credit, or Cards HQ gift card. And people would just, no, that's so dumb, you're giving us more.
Bunch of clowns.
You suck. Like, that's what it feels like. It's like, well, you're just getting more. If people are worried, I don't think this is going to, like, inflate the box price more or, like, have some negative, backlash to it. I just think it's like, hey, well, you got a red
Yeah,
red rookie. I don't know.
I don't think it's enough
get
money
it.
to totally mess around with box prices or anything like that. I'm kind of with you. The only thing I would say that I think Topps should have probably done differently on this is they probably should not have made it so layered with all these things out to Hall of Fame.
I think that's what's
That's
confusing
probably
people.
got a little. I mean, that's the only way some of these people could be mad. Like, oh, I got to hold on this for 30 years. No,
I mean,
you
look how
don't.
much the
Just turn it
landscape
in
is-
if they win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, look how much the landscape has changed in this industry in 5 years.
Yeah.
20 years from now,
Yeah.
25 years, we have no idea
Yeah.
what's going to exist. Topps might not even exist anymore.
They probably didn't need to make it last quite that far out. I think if you don't worry about that and you just look at the Rookie of the Year thing, I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I think it adds some dynamics to the market. Those who want to play the market can predict who they think is going to be Rookie of the Year and then go on eBay or Fanatics Collect or whatever and buy those red cards and kind of speculate. Maybe they get them for $4 and think that they're going to turn them into $100 or get them for $20 and think they're going to turn them into $100 and they're kind of playing the market. I think it's fun. I just think it's a fun thing. And you know what could be cool? I envision a day in my future. 30 years from now, when I am at the Dallas Card Show, walking around with a cane, a big white beard, my grandson maybe next to me, I don't know, and I'm flipping through dollar bins, and I find a Jacob Wilson 2025 Bowman red rookie card, and I pull it out, and I say, that guy's a Hall of Famer. And all of those people from back in the year 2025 forgot about it. And I take that card out of that dollar bin and call up Fanatics and get my $1,000 in fan cash. I see that happening in my future.
Assuming all of this exists in 25 years.
Never know.
But we're depending on...
We're all going to be in the Matrix by then.
If
all
you
good.
hate
So
this
many
idea,
programs.
It's
which
all
I'm sure
digital.
people will on this video, please explain yourself.
Explain yourself.
Explain yourself. More than just worst idea ever. Explain
right.
why you don't like this.
One thing that needs no explanation are the Arena Club auctions. Arena Club is now doing auctions on their website. You can start, anyone can sell on Arena Club. Anyone can start an auction. Starting bids, you can set them at just $1 with no reserve. That will help maximize interest. Arena Club is seeing a lot of traction with auctions on their website. So check out Arena Club auctions. And of course, slab packs. You guys ready to rip one? Let's rip yours first, Doug. This is Doug's slab pack here for this week.
Yeah,
It's
I went
Arena
football.
Club slab pack. You
Back to
went
football. Yeah, I took a little break.
Ooh, Emerald.
What is that? Ooh,
Oh my gosh.
is that Montana
my
Rice?
God.
Dude.
Auto of Montana and
that's
Rice.
sick.
What is that?
That's sick.
You got a dual Montana Rice auto?
I might have to redeem that one. I think I want that one in hand.
Yeah, you got to have
That's
them
sick.
ship that to you.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
happy
put that
about
on your desk. I actually would like to see that in the office.
Yeah, I like
that's the type of car that I like. That's cool.
Yeah, it is
that
one
is
you
cool.
like.
All right,
maybe
Teapot.
trade it to him.
Not going to auction.
Let's go to Teapot here.
All right, let's see.
What
I did
you do?
baseball.
Baseball, okay.
Oh, what is that? Moises Balestros.
All right.
Prospect.
Out of 10?
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Pearl.
That's an out of 10.
Okay.
First Bowman
All right.
auto to 10.
All right. Yep. You know
All
what?
right.
I don't like cards numbered to 10. It's too much value.
Got to root for that guy. All right, I did the Ruby pack, so less expensive pack. I did basketball. Playoffs going on right now.
Okay.
Let's see who we hit.
Oh, Paul Gasol.
Hey, all right, there you go.
Hall of
Now,
Famer.
I was expecting that maybe I get like a Shea Gilgeous or someone relevant today, but that's flawless. That's a flawless patch
That
number
is.
to 25.
That is.
That's actually really nice. I'm
not
sure,
too bad.
that's probably game used.
too bad.
And
Oh, yeah,
that's
I'm
not
sure.
bad at all. Okay,
Definitely
guys.
is.
These slab packs are a ton of fun to rip, and they're live 24/7. Here's the best part. If you haven't ripped an Arena Club slab pack before, use promo code SCI20 for 20% off your first purchase at Arena Club. Once again, download the Arena Club app and use promo code SCI20 for 20% off those slab packs at Arena Club. Okay, let's get into our next story, guys. I want to continue to talk about some of the news that came from the Topps Industry Conference. We got a lot of information about the Topps officially licensed NBA cards and NFL cards because it's no longer that far away that the licenses switch from Panini to Topps. In fact, on October 1st of this year, Topps takes over the NBA license from Panini. So at this conference, Topps talked about their plans, and they confirmed that they will be releasing Topps flagship basketball. So the paper product, just like Series 1 in baseball, we're going to get Topps flagship basketball this October. Will be released fully licensed with on-card autos from LeBron, Steph, Wemby, Cooper Flag, Shaq, Dirk, Jason Tatum, and many more. They also have some cool short print inserts like All Kings, which is their take on All Aces, which you see in Topps baseball products. That looks really cool. Topps Chrome basketball will come before the end of the year, likely in December. And they're carrying over some of the short prints from baseball, like Radiating Rookies and Helix. We're going to see that in basketball as well. They, of course, at some point, we're also going to get NBA debut patches, including Cooper Flagg's NBA debut patch. That is going to be one heck of a chase card. So lots of stuff happening on the NBA front. But then the NFL is not too far behind. The NFL license moves from Panini to Topps on April 1st of 2026. And what Topps announced at this conference that was pretty newsworthy is they've decided to hold back all of their 2025 football products. Instead of releasing them during the season or right after the season's over and they're unlicensed, they're holding all of them back. And then once they get the license in April of 2026, they're going to start releasing them. So what that means is that football card collectors this upcoming season are going to get a double dip of licensed products for the only time, ever. Or I guess it used to be this way if you go back 10 plus years ago. But the only time in recent memory, right? You're going to get Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter. You're going to get them in all of the Panini products up until April 1st of next year. And then all of a sudden it's going to go to Topps. And then you're going to get them probably all again in a bunch of Topps licensed products. So there'll be a lot of football products this next year ahead. What are you, based on all this news, what are you more excited for? Doug, I'm going to start with you. Are you more excited for the basketball or the football? And were you surprised by any of this?
I think I'm probably more excited for basketball just because it's 5 months away. It's really soon. I would say excited, but also a little nervous. I mean, for the past decade, it's been Prism and Optic and Select for me. And now I've got to change that mindset. I've got to go back to the 90s and early 2000s and get my frame of mind back into Topps and Topps Chrome and whatever other subsets come out of this. I like what I've seen from the design leaks so far. The base designs look good. I'm really happy that we finally have all the exclusivities in place and we'll have all the autos that we want to have and everything like that. So I'm very, very optimistic. I think Topps has really big shoes to fill when it comes to the insert game, though. I think that's the thing we might miss out on a lot. We've come to really, really put on a pedestal these inserts like Kaboom and Color Blast and Downtown, and I think that's where Topps is going to have some catching up to do, and I don't think that happens overnight. So we'll probably be missing those, and I wouldn't be too shocked to see the Panini unlicensed stuff still maybe hold some value with those specific inserts. But I'm excited for both, for sure. I'm really happy that they're delaying the launch of any football stuff until it's all licensed. I think that's really positive. That kind of keeps us from having to choose between licensed and unlicensed right now. We're going to have it all, essentially.
Yeah. You agree with all of this, or do you have a slightly different take?
I agree with that. I'd probably lean a little more toward basketball because that harkens back to the nostalgia from my childhood, collecting specifically basketball then with Topps products. But I'm just excited it's finally here. I'm excited this transition's happening. Look, I understand the concerns about a monopoly and people get frustrated and whatever. They'd prefer to have multiple manufacturers doing this, not just one. But if I had to choose between what we've had in the past with basketball and football being with one company and hockey being with another company and then Marvel being with another company and then, baseball over here, I really am excited to see collectors from basketball and football find their way hopefully into baseball products if they like those sports but historically have just been confused by Topps products and vice versa. And I know that exists. I know there are a lot of people, there's a lot of shared fandom across those sports where people have just always gone Panini product or Topps, not both. This is going to create a different synergy. And to the point on inserts, I think they talked a lot about that at the conference, that they recognize that's a big key. That's one of the linchpins to winning over this new audience. At the same time, when it's the only product that these collectors now have to go after, I think the ones coming from basketball and football will now begin to celebrate the helixes and the other things in Topps products more. It might just help raise the ship overall on baseball, where these inserts haven't had the same historical value as basketball and football products just have in general. Even if you go back to the 90s, the biggest inserts of the biggest players, Griffey, Jeter, and otherwise, don't command nearly the value that basketball players do. Yep. So it's going to be just an interesting dynamic overall. And then finally, I'm just excited to see my thesis about the high-end RPA market in Dynasty and other products for baseball finally play out, because they've already gotten Corbin Carroll's Logo Man just sold for $30,000, I think. Maybe it was 20, 30. It was a big number. So there's already momentum there, and I think it's only going to kind of go up from here. So no more unlicensed games, no more waiting games. This next year is going to be amazing.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
That I'm excited about? we're going to have unified rainbow tiers
Yes.
across everything.
We are.
So it's not like, when I collect soccer, I've got to remember gold is out of 50. It's not out of 10 like it is when I'm collecting basketball or football. And gold vinyl compared to superfractors it's all going to be the same from baseball to basketball to football. We're going to have unified tiers. Gold's always out of 50 and so on. I'm pretty pumped about that.
I am too. And Topps
Less
talked about that
confusion.
at the
Less
event.
confusion,
Yeah,
for sure.
Topps even said within some of their own products it wasn't even standardized, but
Yeah.
they're fixing that. They said going forward to make that. So I agree. I like that. Less confusion, easier for the new collector. That's something that they talked about. All right, you guys covered that subject well. Now let's talk about non-sports. And I know not everybody collects non-sports, but there was some pretty interesting stuff announced. First of all, they've got a pretty powerhouse list of signers that they're bringing in for these non-sports products. You're going to have Tom Hanks sign cards, Will Smith sign cards, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Billy Crystal, John Goodman. You got people like Halle Berry, a lot of Orlando Bloom. A lot of these people, by the way, have never signed cards before. So you're going to get a lot of these people in there for the first time. And they're expanding their lineup of sets. Disney, you're going to start seeing a lot of Disney and Pixar sets from Topps. Of course, they recently got that license in the US, including one that I'm kind of excited about, a Disneyland specific set celebrating Disneyland's 70th anniversary. I think that's cool. A Toy Story 30th anniversary set. Lots of cool stuff there. I think Tom Hanks is signing in that one. And then you're going to have a bunch of Marvel and superhero sets that have been announced. You got a Deadpool dedicated set. You've got Topps Chrome Marvel Studios. You've got all kinds of stuff. And then some other sets, including a SpongeBob set. I don't know if you guys are excited about that at all or not. I'm sure some people watching are.
Too old.
More Dune, more Stranger Things. A lot of stuff happening in the non-sports world. So out of all of this, Teapot, what excites you the most?
I'm most excited about Dune because it's new and I really like both of those movies. I'm excited about the continued products for Star Wars and Marvel. And one of the big things they talked about here, in addition to adding a lot of new autographs to the lineup, if that's something that you're into, is bringing actual pieces of set and other things. They've got a car, they've got lots of stuff that they're putting in as film used relics, in no more manufactured relics. For years, if you bought Marvel Shang-Chi or other things, it was just like a manufactured relic that they put into the thing. So they're chasing down, their whole product team is hunting down these, film used, cinema used items to bring them, fans closer to it. But the big thing I would say overall is just this, to me, outside of maybe the international soccer audience and just overall sports collector audience, this is probably the ripest pasture for growth for the overall hobby, for the because there aren't as many people in the entertainment card space who collect cards, but there are a lot of people who really like movies, music, television, other things like that. Some of these IPs, comics. So I just think they have a ton of growth opportunity. And this was one of the most detailed presentations that we saw. The guy just went kind of into all their things, talked about other IPs that they're starting to have conversations with. So it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes for Topps overall. But I think it's here to stay, and it's only going to grow from here.
I can buy into that. I like that take. Doug, what do you think? What excites you the most?
Absolutely nothing. This is the stupidest idea. This is
See, he's one of those guys in the comments.
No, of course I'm joking with that, but I don't care at all. I'm not joking when I say that. The star power Hollywood icons does nothing for me. It's Leaf Pop Century, and I would rather keep that with Leaf. Let them handle that lane. A lot of these IPs that they should lean into, obviously Marvel, Disney, Star Wars are IPs they should lean into. You know what my hot take, I guess, would be is I miss Zero Cool. I kind of wish a lot of this stuff was still under a different brand name like Zero Cool when it was, a couple years ago, 23, 22. Just because I don't think everything needs the Topps Chrome treatment or the Topps Sapphire treatment, which this is all inevitably going to get at some point.
It is.
And that just sort of waters down that brand for me. If everything was Prism, I would feel the same way, but everything doesn't need to be Topps Chrome and Topps Sapphire. Save that for stuff that deserves it, not put it on every single brand. That's why I would like to see, maybe a separate identity kind of house some of those IPs. But yeah, I mean, that's just my own opinion. I'm happy for people that collect these things. They're going to have a ton of options to collect, and maybe those people do deserve it in a Topps Chrome format, and I'm just being grumpy.
Similar to the Rainbow continuity, I like the continuity.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the first Marvel set that I got back into, and one of the biggest early jumps I got that made me money in this hobby was getting in on Fleer Retro Marvel and PMGs. And there was a connectivity and a familiarity between childhood chase cards, and then the Marvel versions then at a very significant discount for what I could get them for a basketball player, for example. So I like the continuity. I like knowing that it's a bigger brand and a bigger empire, and then having my Topps Chrome Star Wars Galaxy, which was, by the way, one of the best design sets ever in history, in my opinion, this last year, and seeing my, whatever, Ewok or Luke Skywalker, like sitting next to my insert athlete. Like, I think it's pretty cool, so.
Okay. All right, cool. I like it. I'm excited. I think Doug.
You sound super excited.
Okay.
I'm excited about some of this.
You sound like you agree with me.
I'm not a big non-sports guy.
You're not a big entertainment industry.
I'm not a big entertainment industry guy, but some of this I thought was kind of cool. Like I said to you, I actually dig that Disneyland set probably more than most of the stuff on this list, because Disneyland is a place I've been a bunch of times, and so like I got more of a connection than maybe just some of the movie stuff or something like that. So I don't know. But to each his own. But I think it's cool that they got it all. Okay, let's cover one final story, a quick one to end with in the hobby this week. This is actually kind of two stories, maybe on opposite ends of the spectrum a little bit, I don't know. You saw a T206 Honus Wagner sell. You don't see these sell very often, but one just came up. It was a restored copy. So obviously it had been one that had been worked on, had been restored. It was designated in a PSA slab as restored. Sold at Mile High Auctions this past weekend for $1.98 million. So big sale of a big card. Maybe on the opposite end of the spectrum, we saw some Cam Ward autograph cards hit the market from a card manufacturer I wasn't familiar with. These aren't like Panini Cam Ward cards, but Cam Ward autograph cards maybe giving us the first peek at what Cam Ward's autos are going to look like. And if this is what Cam Ward's autos are going to look like, I am very disappointed for the sports card hobby and what is to come, because and I'll tell you what. Yeah, have you watched a lot of Cam Ward play? His nonchalant. It honestly, the guy drives me crazy when I watch him play back there.
Your Florida's showing.
He has this like nonchalant, looks half interested, half engaged, barely ever goes full speed, just kind of loafing around like thing that he does on the field, which honestly drives me insane. But he plays at half speed. He plays at this weird half speed pace.
People say that about Luca.
His stats seemed more than half speed.
And his auto just
half speed
reminds me of that. This is like a half speed auto. This is like a quarter speed auto. Of these two stories, which is the bigger one to you? I'll start with you, Teapot.
Okay. Well, you know how I felt about the Jackson Merrill issue and him saying, like, I don't give a, what about cards or whatever. But in Cam Ward's case, I did see the little, training facility footage and banter between he and Shadur Sanders, and it was very funny.
It is very funny.
And Cam Ward is like, all I care about is football. And Shadur Sanders is like, what do you mean, man? He's like showing his watches and stuff. Like, don't you want to have any fun? He's like, no, I play football. That's what I do. That's what I care about. So some of the comments when I was ripping Jackson Merrill last time were saying like, well, good, he just wants to focus on baseball, not like signing autos or whatever. Those are the people probably commenting on the Topps posts about how they hate everything in life. But you got to clean this up. And I know it's going to drive Topps crazy. Like if he's signing cards like that, I don't know if they're going to let him sign cards like that. I mean, they're letting Jackson Merrill right now. So I'd like to see more behind the curtain about what is or isn't permissible and how they can structure those contracts to say, we want to pay you for these autos and we'll pay you a pretty decent chunk of change if you're a top draft pick. It better be an auto, not a squiggle or a line or something that doesn't resemble an autograph at all. On the Honus Wagner, overall, cool. Great card. We've talked about restoration in the past. That's the piece that stands out to me. And on vintage, I think there should be a space for that. I think we've talked, art gets restored, like statues get restored. Help preserve these cards and just clean them up a little bit when they're that important of a historical artifact. I'm okay with it. It's not an endorsement for trimming or recoloring or all these things, but just, keep it alive.
So, yeah. Doug, similar takes, or what are your thoughts on these things?
Yeah, pretty similar. I mean, we talked about the autos with Merrill a couple weeks ago, I guess, and I took up for him. And I said, if it was me and I had to sign 3,000 of these things, yeah,
I was thinking it was some dummy in the comments.
Well, I would just be doing initials as well and saving my good stuff for like an on-card auto or the serial numbered stuff. I would treat those with a bit of reverence, but everything else, you're getting my initials and I'm moving on. This isn't that though. This is way worse. These are barely even initials. It's just kind of 2 lines, and it doesn't. There's no indication that he's going to give you better autos on better cards, so to speak. But that might come along with the next contract, right? His next auto contract might state we need more than 2 lines. Hopefully for people that collect that. But that is what it is. The Honus Wagner thing was interesting to me because I thought this was supposed to be like, oh man, another huge sale on the market, right? So I Google it and I'm trying to see what's out there, what information I can find, and I find an article that says this is like an alarming sale, that this was trouble for the hobby, and that was really surprising to me. The take was that this card, the percentage of its profit wasn't as good as previous sales over previous sales. So a Honus Wagner would sell, and then the next copy that would go up for auction would be like 30% more, 40% more, 60% more, and this wasn't even 1% more than its previous sale. And that was supposed to be some alarm, right? And I think that's a ridiculous take because, first of all, it was only a year and a half ago, and it was this exact card. So there's a direct comp that you can look at. And it's a restored card, a restored authentic card. This doesn't have a grade on it, anything like that. And Golden kind of advertised that they're coming up with a better graded version very soon.
So people might have...
You know what, there's 60-ish of these out there that exist, right? If you've got Wagner money, maybe you want that higher grade. Maybe that's what you're saving up for. And this one didn't pull as much attention, which I don't think makes this an alarming sale by any means. I'm not really sure what that take is all about. Like, how could you look at not a record sale, but a profit? It improved. It didn't tank. That's where the scary part would be if it tanked. So I'm kind of confused by that sentiment. Hopefully people look at this and think, oh, that's a great thing. Like, it's still
$2
going
million
strong.
bucks
Yeah.
for a restored card. Seems pretty good to me. Seems relatively healthy to me. I don't know. I'm not sure what's wrong with that either. I'm kind of with you on that, Doug. All right. That was a lot of news today. This was a good discussion, gentlemen.
News.
All right, we're gonna let everybody out there go so that they have some time to go back to their social media and start getting angry in the comments about stuff. I want to make sure you guys have plenty of time to do that. Appreciate you guys watching the episode today. Don't forget about Arena Club, those slab packs. Download the Arena Club app and use promo code SCI20 for 20% off your first purchase. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon with the next one. Take care.